Yesterday at Johns Hopkins University, USA, I honored the invitation to speak on politics and change in Nigeria from Professor Peter Lewis, the famous author of Growing Apart, comparing Indonesia and Nigeria. In discussing this very critical issue, which directly impacts the direction of a nation, I pointed out that the failure of a nation depends largely on its political leadership. Competent, capable, and compassionate political leadership with integrity will help nations to achieve sustainable growth and development. In my speech, I tried to assess three of our comparable nations: China, Vietnam, and Indonesia, from 1990 till date. In 1990, the measurement of the Human Development Index was started. These three comparable nations, including Nigeria, were all classified under the medium category of the HDI measurement. 35 years later, three of these nations have moved up to the high category of HDI, while Nigeria has fallen into the low category. Within the same period of 35 years, from 1999 to 2025, the GDP per capita of these comparable nations have all improved. As of 1990, while Nigeria had a GDP per capita of 566 million, 566, so capital of $556. China had $317. Indonesia had $578. And Vietnam had only $99. Nigeria obviously had higher GDP per capita than China, while Vietnam had less than one-fifth of Nigeria's per capita. Today, Nigeria's per capita is about one-fifth of Indonesia's $5,000 and Vietnam's 4,400 GDP per capita, and below 1/10 of China's 1,300 GDP per capita. Barrister, anyway, I don't want to go into all those economic jargons. Again, this has been Peter Obi's trajectory. He has all the statistics and data, economic data in his head. Peter Obi barely, that's one thing I like about it, I love about him. He barely reads speech, barely reads written speech. Most of his speeches are actually off-air, so he's a smart, there's no doubt about that. He's an intelligent, smart businessman, but he's not a good politician. That's the reality. Barrister, aren't we tired of this Peter Obi? So don't we all know? We all Nigerians, we know the problem of Nigeria. Peter Obi should stop telling us what our problems are. We all know, even the common man on the street knows what our problems are. All he does, he goes around, he's just complaining about our problems, nagging about our problems. He's just like that bad wife who keeps nagging at her husband all the time, saying the same thing. That's exactly what Peter Obi has been doing for years now. He's been nagging, anywhere he goes, he just keeps nagging on our problems. As if we don't know what our problems are. We know our problems. Common man on the street knows how corrupt Nigeria is. We know that what we actually need right now to correct for a better country is a leader with all the qualities he mentioned. We all know that. That is just a principled leader, a purposeful leader, a courageous leader. We all know that, for God's sake. Why is this man just nagging about our problem when we should be talking about, okay, he profiles solution? But in my own opinion, he was supposed to be part of the solution in 2023 election. He was supposed to be part of the solution, but he didn't. He refused. Because he's a weakling, he refused to offer himself. he declined to offer himself as part of the solution. He declined to spearhead the solution. And now he's still going about nagging about our problems when he had the opportunity to actually solve this problem. At least, if not solving it completely, at least be a part of the process to solving the problem. Barrister.
I agree with you that people are getting tired with Mr. Statistician, because that's what they call him. He says Mr. Statistician. He goes everywhere, he reads up statistics, which are correct, by the way.
Yes, of course.
The statistics are bad, because I just read now the president of the African Development Bank, Adewumi Adesina, he also said Nigeria's GDP has plummeted to $824, a figure lower than 1,847 recorded in 1960. So he is, that's the president of the African Development Bank. So the statistics given by Peter Obi, nobody can really fault them. But we have gone past that. And like you rightly said, every Nigerian knows the problem of Nigeria. My quarrel with him is his suggestion that the problem is leadership is too simplistic. From my experience and what I have been saying on this forum, the leadership and the system of governance must go together.
Yeah.
If you have just the leadership alone, with what we have today, a Peter Obi, a Donald Trump, whoever you brought under the system we have now, is not going to function effectively.
I agree.
So along with good leadership and the qualities that he exposes, we need a system of government that will support that good leadership. If not, the two must go together. If not, we are just crowding at the problem. We are not really. The good leader will help marginally, but not substantially. But if we imbibe a system of government that goes down to the grassroots, at the local government level, the state level, then the federal level, and that system is robust, has integrity, it supports the good leaders, that is when we can experience redevelopment. So when he just say good leadership and stop at that, I think his solution is too simplistic. One must understand, live in Nigeria, see what has been going on, see the system we have practiced again and again and again, see the mentality of the people and the political actors, people who are given appointments, people who have found themselves in positions of authority. We see that, and then we know that as a leader, a good leader, simplicity will not solve our problem. I must insist and maintain that position. So it's about time he stopped, levels down statistics and brings out a solution on the whole gamut of leadership and system of governance that will catapult Nigeria into a community of great nations. Like you said, a lot of people are tired of statistics. They know all these things very well. They know the poverty index. They know the GDP index. They know the corruption index. We know all these things. Repeating them again and again does not take us anywhere. Let's move from that and do something. Let's move from that and do something. Not just attending lectures, delivering lectures, and coming back. Already people are saying that they are tired of his statistics.
Of course.
So when you lose that confidence of the people, you know that what you are saying, even though it's correct, it's not registering.
That is it. That's the
You
point.
have to step up. You have to step up.
Yeah.
That's what I expect of him.
That is the point. Now, my next question is this. He actually was invited to Johns Hopkins University, is a very prestigious university. Usually a very, very key political figure being invited from Nigeria to do this. Usually when such invitation most times indicates a support by the system, by the US system or government, whatever you want to call it. Not it might not be up to the highest level, but at least it's an indication that the US has a kind of they have interest in certain people or certain person. In this case, Peter Obi, he was actually invited for this to speak about this, specifically to talk about Nigeria. Do you see him being backed up, but being supported by the U.S. government? You know, US, of course, US. We're not talking about coming out to. No government does that. We all know that. For in case those of you who come to my comment section to begin to talk nonsense, we know that Nigeria as an institution, we are independent, we are sovereign. No, we shouldn't. That Donald Trump or the U.S. is not, but it cannot do anything. They cannot do anything formally in the public, but all big countries, they always interfere in the smaller countries' election. They are always, so that is the norm. It has been the norm for decades now, a very, very long time. So that I'm speaking based on these facts. So, Barrister, do you think that inviting Peter Obi, not the US government though, but an institution, like I said, John Hopkins institution is a very, 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 very important and very key institution in Nigeria that plays major role in so many things, especially when it comes to medicine as well. That's where this man came out from. What's his name? Dr. Ben Carson, one of the greatest surgeons, neurosurgeons we have. Now, do you think that the U.S., this indicates that the U.S. will end up supporting Peter Obi? And if you think so,
I don't think so. It's stretching it so far. I think Peter Obi, remember his participation in 2023 election was almost a landmark achievement. The outpouring of support, the spontaneous support is almost revolutionary. It catapulted him into one of the leading prominent Nigerian politicians. And that has earned him the right of international respect throughout the world.
Okay, hold on. Sorry to cut you short. Maybe if I remembered this thought, I may not have asked you this question. Are you aware? I don't know. Someone said that Peter Obi actually was in support of Kamala Harris against Donald Trump. Were you aware of that?
Not to my knowledge. To my knowledge.
Yeah, because I would be so shocked.
It would be foolish.
Yes, of course.
For any leading politician who was aspiring to govern a country like Nigeria to express an opinion of a U.S. election, which may not come to pass, and then pit him against the elected president, were he to become president. Even if you were...
but you and I know that some Western countries did that, foolishly did that.
Of course, no. The Western countries, they
were in support of Kamala Harris. Some of the prime ministers and presidents, they publicly did that and even called Donald Trump names.
You know the way the configuration of Western countries is.
Yes.
They are talking of policies. They believe Kamala Harris will take policies that will favor them. So it was in their interest, in their national interest to express their support. And they believe that Donald Trump will take strong policies that will adversely affect them. So it was incumbent on them to come out to support Kamala Harris. Well, most of them can stand on their own. We Nigerians cannot. We depend on the Western powers. We are not yet on our feet. We cannot have the luxury to interfere or express preference in the presidential election in the U.S. It will be a very bad and unintelligent move by anybody. And throughout that time, I never read or heard anything from Peter Obi suggesting his preference for Kamala Harris in the American. I personally, I never heard it from anywhere, whether online or by whatever means, suggesting his preference for Kamala Harris in the U.S. elections. Yeah. I did not.
You're right. Anyway, so because one of our viewers sent in the comment section at talking about Peter Obi
again.
Donald Trump supporting Peter Obi when
whether the government whether the government will support whether the U.S. government will support Peter Obi. I come back to the same thing.
I was going to say that
the U.S. government, whether it is Democratic or Republican, will only support what will benefit the interests of the U.S., whether it is Democrats or Republicans. At the end of the day, the government in Nigeria that will benefit, or the person ruling Nigeria that will help advance the cause of the U.S. and the Western economies, is what they will support.
Right.
Unfortunately,
yeah, but
I have to say that. And as between him and Tinubu and Atiku, they will always support Tinubu, and
because he's corrupt.
In that order,
have something against him.
After Tinubu, Atiku, he will be the last to be supported by the American.
All right, I think that makes sense to me because U.S. Will always, the West will always support. Now, when it comes to African leadership, they will always support someone that is corrupt, because that person can actually play ball. They can control such person, which makes sense. Anyway, now back to Peter Obi. The reality is, like I said, Peter Obi's political career died after 2023 when he decided to go to court. When he decided to depend on court instead of actually taking the bull by the horn. He acted in a very, very wrong way. He didn't follow it. He didn't act in the right way. So at that juncture, he just lost his political career died. And like I said, what happened with Peter Obi in 2023 election was very spontaneous. It was unprecedented. We never had such organic movement in Nigeria. It was the first of its kind. And this was an opportunity, a lifetime opportunity that came by. And we lost it because Peter Obi was foolish and weak to actually take the bull by the horn. Such opportunity, honestly, will never, because such opportunity is when it comes to Nigeria, it's a rare opportunity. Was a very, very rare opportunity. It's such a, this, when we say opportunity comes but once, yes, there are opportunities that repeat itself, but there are opportunities that actually comes only once in lifetime. And that was what happened in 2023 election. That opportunity we had to actually revolutionize the Nigerian system through Peter Obi leading the cause. We missed it, and we can never, not even we'll never get to that anymore. So what we desire right now, what we expect right now, is a revolution. Revolution either by the military or by the people. And I rather we first of all take that first option, which is the military, which is less bloody, which may be not, we may not be even bloody at all. It may be done in a peaceful way, rather than the people's revolution. The people's revolution in any clime, in any facet, will always be very bloody. It will paint the entire streets of the nation with blood that could actually affect us either directly or indirectly. So that is the second option. I rather we go with the first option, where the military revolution, first at least, than the second revolution. So nobody wants that second revolution by the people to take, because it will be very, very bad for the country. Even though that is the only revolution that can actually transform Nigeria, overhaul Nigeria to a better nation. Honestly, that is the only revolution. But again, no pain, no gain. However, I rather will go with the military revolution first, then the people's revolution. So Peter Obi stand no chance. I think we even stand worse chance than Peter Obi. And so Bola Tinubu will actually have a free ride in 2027, a free ride. That is just the reality. We are seeing it right now. The thing is the whole situation is just playing out. So no one should just Barrister have said it, and I agree with him completely. We've all lost hope in the faith and hope in INEC totally, 100%, if possible, 1,000%. A sort of so. No one should expect anything good to come out of 2027. We don't. That's just the reality.